If you could go back in time and move just one air molecule, the entire outcome of history would be changed completely. Imagine this scenario. You are walking to your car and suddenly a speck of dust flies onto your shirt. You don't really think anything of it, but stop for a second to brush it off. You get into your car and continue driving to your destination, only a second behind. This causes you to arrive at a stop sign a second later, and a car that would have gone behind you goes in front of you. This car eventually causes an accident that would have been avoided if they just would have been delayed a few seconds by you. And somebody dies in this accident. This causes a traffic jam where thousands of people are delayed, many of them changing the course of their day. Maybe somebody decided to exit and get lunch where they met their future wife. Or maybe somebody decided to exit, get gas, and buy a winning lottery ticket. All of these effects build on each other and become bigger and bigger. Maybe this couple gives birth to a future president. All of this occurred because a speck of dust happened to land on your shirt at the right moment. The ability for an extremely small change in initial conditions to affect the outcome of an entire system is called the chaos theory. I know what most of you are probably thinking right now. The aforementioned scenario could technically happen, but it is extremely unlikely. And it is. A scenario like this probably won't happen. But the same speck of dust would still have a huge effect on the future of the world, every single time. Every small action you take affects the entire future of the world, even if it doesn't seem like it at the moment. There are no exceptions to this, as absurd as it seems. The smallest events keep building into bigger and bigger ones. There are two very chaotic systems that make this possible: weather and babies. The weather is a chaotic system that is very sensitive to initial conditions. The most famous example of the chaos theory is the butterfly effect, which suggests that a flap of a butterfly's wings in Brazil could theoretically cause a tornado in Texas. The weather depends on the location of every single air molecule and provides the perfect environment for a small change to keep amplifying into something bigger. By snapping your fingers, you can literally change what the weather will be like in the future. Maybe it was going to be cloudy on April 11, 2050, but after snapping your fingers, it might be sunny. Another chaotic system that affects the entire future of the world is babies. As Bill Bryson said, if your two parents hadn't bonded just when they did, possibly to the second, possibly to the nanosecond, you wouldn't be here. And if their parents hadn't bonded in a precisely timely manner, you wouldn't be here either. And if their parents hadn't done likewise, and their parents before them, and so on, obviously and indefinitely, you wouldn't be here. Many factors can change your genetics at the microscopic level, and your genetics define who you are and what you do. Think about how different you are from your siblings, and realize that they came from the same parents. If you would have been conceived a fraction of a second earlier, you may be completely different. Chaotic systems often build on each other. Weather definitely affects when babies are made, as well as many other activities. So by snapping your fingers to change the weather, you are literally changing every single person's genetics in the future. If you could go back in time to the 1880s and snap your fingers, Hitler probably would have never been born. Chaotic systems have several properties. They are usually very unpredictable, which is why weather is so hard to predict after a short period of time. They often mix things around as well. For example, if you dump out a glass of water, some molecules right next to each other may end up in different parts of the ocean. Finally, providing feedback can lead to a chaotic system. Since stock prices fluctuating usually results in action from investors, people trade different stocks and amplify an initial change. With knowledge of the chaos theory, you realize how much power you have on the world. You can change the entire future by snapping your fingers, just like everybody else can. The weather of the future is not determined. Even though snapping your fingers changes it, everybody else is making movements that affect it as well. Out of all the chaos, an order emerges where everybody is making so many changes to the future, everybody is back to an equal level. Still, this video has changed your life. If you're going to have kids in the future, they will be different after watching this video than they would have been if you hadn't. And many other aspects of your life will be changed. Maybe you saw an ad for this video that would have been generated differently a millisecond later, which is another example of the chaos theory working. With so many things to affect where you are today, what are the chances you are alive at all? You probably can guess that they will be pretty much zero, but an infographic has attempted to calculate it anyway. The chances that your dad met your mom are about 1 in 20,000. And the odds that they ended up staying together long enough to have kids are about 1 in 2,000. The odds that one sperm and egg cell met to make you instead of your sibling add up to about 1 in 400 quadrillion. This is assuming your parents were both born. If every one of your ancestors had to live to reproductive age, that brings the chances to 1 in 10 to the power of 45,000, or 1 with 45,000 zeros after it. If you factor in that every one of your ancestors had to be the result of the right sperm and egg cells, then the ludicrously small chance that you are here results to 1 in 10 to the power of 2,685,000. If you are watching this in 1080p, then if every pixel on your monitor was a 0, there still wouldn't be enough to write this number. The number of atoms in the universe is 10 to the power of 80. This calculation does not even consider the fact that the Earth and the universe developed into the state that they are right now. Small events seem to have a big effect on the world today, but nanoseconds after the Big Bang, incomprehensibly small changes could mean the universe doesn't exist as we know it. Making this into a probability would be both impossible and incomprehensible, but despite the absurdly small chances, you are somehow here. There is a 100% chance that you exist right now, even if looking at the universe as it began it seemed impossible. History had to take a course, and you happen to exist in the course it took.